Mhm. You good? Oh yeah, you way behind. Oh Lord, they dropped some gems today. Woo. Yeah, what's up? What's up, Miss Flora Brown? I don't know if you can see me. Oh, you good? We waiting on everybody else to get in the room. This is the after show, everybody. We come in with the after show, the after show. After the party, it's the hotel party, and after the sun, Mr. Sa. Thanks for coming on the show, Misinterpretation. I really, really appreciate it. I'm gonna open the
Thank
room up when
you.
people come in. This is the part of the show we just talk about the after show. So I'm waiting on everybody to come in so we can have a conversation at the same time. I'm not gonna hold y'all because listen, y'all dropped so many gems today. I'm like, listen, this is a gem dropping show. Let me call everybody and get them in because I told them to take a 5-minute break and come back in. So I'm gonna call all of them. Now my computer want to move too much energy tonight. Computer want to move slow. Hold on one second. Hey, what's up? I'm just waiting on y'all to come back in the room. Just click the link so we can do the after show and get it on through.
Okay, okay, I'm still tore up over your piece. Okay,
We can talk about that on the after show.
all right.
All right, Cherazz and Surreal Sister, we just want y'all to come in on the Zoom. I put the link back in, come in so we can do the Zoom after show and then we'll be done.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
All right.
All right, cool.
All right, peace. So go on, go over there, Surreal Sister, and stop smoking your cigarettes. You told me you was gonna stop smoking 5 years ago. I remember. All right, go come back in the room on Zoom.
You didn't just throw her under the bus like that, sir. Did you?
I did. She promised me. I shame smokers. You look, my auntie, I be doing so wrong. More, we just coming into the Zoom meeting. Just click back in the Zoom meeting. I'm gonna close this out, y'all.
Oh, okay.
Look, my aunt a smoker. Every time she put a cigarette to her mouth, I'll be like, don't you know?
Irvin, you play too much. Listen, let me tell you something. You need to do that piece and you need to add some images and you need to submit that to film festivals as a short.
Do you still do your one-man show?
Yeah, yeah.
I do. I just my one woman show, it had to end due to COVID, but I played to a sold out show in Brooklyn, New York last February in 2020.
And was supposed to be going to Africa, but that COVID hit.
Right. Because Irv, I enjoy your show, Irvin.
Oh, you was asking about Irvin. I thought you was talking about my one woman show.
I'm going, Dr. Marty, you on my radar now. I'm going to be everything you do. I gotta be there, especially the ungun trauma that is needed. Because as an educator, I talk to people a lot about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences.
Yes. Yes.
You know, look, how about this? We already at a 10. I say that's where we are now. If you don't think you a 10, then tell me what 2 or 3 you missing, because that's where I think we already at a 10. No, just
I told somebody the other day, when I took the ACEs test, if I was honest, I would have been a 9. But when I was not honest with myself at the time, I was an 8. And let me tell y'all something that happened. For the people that don't know that's watching the after show, the ACEs is a test about adverse childhood trauma, okay? And basically you take this test to see where you land on the spectrum of trauma and how it has affected your life. And it's led by Berdine, what's her name? Berdine Harris?
Yeah, Dr.
Berdine Harris. Bert, and it's led by her. So I took this test and I realized I was an 8, and I realized like, oh my God, I am highly functioning in my trauma. And when it was one thing, y'all, it was one thing. I'm gonna tell y'all something that almost brought me to tears. Is last year when I was teaching, right, I taught at a predominantly Black school with predominantly Black teachers. We took the finish line test, right? Where they put all the Black teachers on the line and they had us start at the beginning and they read the things aloud. And if you had to pay for college, take 2 steps back. If your mother received financial aid or you were on food stamps, take 2 steps back. Now, living in the city of St. Louis, I knew that financially and economically, I was behind white people. But to look up and see that not only am I behind the start line, but I'm behind the start line with my peers. I'm behind Black people behind the start line. And to see that Black people are ahead of you and you still don't even have a foundation at the start line. And as horrible as my situation was, and I'm 4 paces behind the start line, I looked behind me and there were 2 more teachers behind me that were Black. And when I tell y'all, I literally had to take a break because it was one thing to know that in America, we are on the low totem pole, but to know that you are the low totem pole in your own community as well. That was a different kind of hit, y'all. And it wasn't a hit that I was ready for, but it made me start looking at life like there is privilege in the Black community with Black people. You get what I'm saying?
I hope that the person that was in the very, very back of the line, my prayer is that they acknowledge that person to still have been a winner.
Yes.
Severe.
Yes.
I hope that they did that because that's a very you got to be careful with those types of visuals because that is also very traumatic. Just like bring it, imagine being the very last person in that line. You know, so we want, you want to use that as a visual, but you still need to end it on a positive impact.
And that's what they did. That's what I did too. Because I told them, I said, because they asked us, how do we feel in our place? And I said, it's amazing that I realized, you know, you need a foundation to stand on. But when you on quicksand, and even though my foundation was built on quicksand, I'm still in the room teaching these same babies, being promoted and acknowledged as teacher of the year in that same room. So I deserve, somebody said this earlier, I deserve to be here too.
Yeah.
I fought for this place.
Yeah, and you know what? I love the wife from Kindred and the Family Soul.
Yeah.
Because she had on this t-shirt that said, don't let the GED fool you.
A
lot of people don't, a lot of people don't know. I got a GED. And still became the first Black woman creative in the history of Wieden & Kennedy in the creative department.
And listen, and what is that? What you do to the least of thee? My gifts will open up doors to kings and queens. Come on now. Listen, y'all don't listen. So, don't get me started.
Because you know, when I had an argument with a person who I love dearly. At the time, she was the executive director. She was the executive producer at Burrell Communications, which was like the first major ad agency I ever worked for in Chicago. And white Irish woman, like I said, she's a dear friend of mine. And she was like, well, you made it out. And I was like, that's the problem. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
You know, you know, I was like, you saying that, do you hear how absurd that is? Because you wouldn't say about white kids coming out of a white community that it's okay that one made it. You know, and I'm proud of where I come from. I'm from College Hill.
Yeah, when you said Gano, you know, I grew up on Blair and DeSoto. Don't get, and Marty from the north side too. So you know, we hood as hood gonna get. Look, I grew up the north side. I done did all the DST and everything else.
Yeah, you know, I'm from Gano, Wisconsin.
And listen, we from College Hill before it was named College Hill. You know, that's something new and fancy.
Right. You know, and it's one of those things where I grew up with brilliance. I grew up with genius. Like our neighborhood was popping in the 70s and 80s, you know, and even in the 90s. And I was kind of heartbroken when I couldn't go to VAP or Beaumont and I got bussed out to Kirkwood. you know, because I saw what was in my community. I knew the conversations we had. My godfather is Otis.
From
You
the
know?
Temptations?
Huh?
Is that what you're saying? Otis from the Temptations?
No, girl.
Oh, I'm all like, wait a minute. Did nobody come to see Otis?
No.
Nobody come see you, Otis.
Did nobody come to see Otis?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
He messed the name Otis up for everybody named Otis. I come see you,
yeah,
Otis.
sure did.
But you know, I think, Flora, you might can
fight with just the stigma, you know, that we think that, well, our zip codes mark us, right? But knowing that if we look at everybody as being purely genius and really believing that, then where we come from, our zip codes, where we come from, doesn't matter.
No, because some of the smartest people I know don't hold a college degree and never went to high school. My grandma was my grandma, same as yours, Marty, born in 1909. She died in 2006. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that wisdom, that pure, because I don't think they passing out common sense anymore, okay? That pure wisdom and that common sense and that ability to survive under everything that was meant to destroy you. We have to understand where that's where we come from. But I don't even want to turn this to another show because I'm definitely going to do a part 2 because I want a panel of women and then maybe I have somebody come in as a guest speaker and just have people listen. And we do this in a more private sector and invite people to the Zoom meeting and have like a panel discussion because all of these questions, I know we can't answer. These are loaded questions, but I'm glad that we getting the conversation started. So in the after show, this is the part where you talk about what did you think about the show? How did you feel? If there's anything that you wanted to say that you forgot to say and yada, yada, yada. So I give everybody their moments to shout people out and just talk about the show in general. What did you learn? What are some things that, you know, can be a readjust or whatever?
The show for me was very invigorating. You know, I am high gratitude to you for blowing me up and pulling me into this, as Dr. Marty stated, this intimate space. You know, it gave me a chance to do what is needed, create, you know, the bonds of sisterhood. And I say, Marty Casey, you on my radar now. I want to get involved in what, because that trauma piece is really, really, y'all don't get that trauma piece is what we need to tap into for healing of our community.
Yes.
And it's great to be able to reconnect with Cherazz. We go way back. And so overall the show, Irvin, you on point. You did, is brilliant. Bringing what we do as artists, being the voice of the community in art form, you know, to the community for healing overall. So
thank you for that. And what's crazy about it, Cameron Rose from Real STL News, you know, I always pay homage to, he the one put the ideas like, yo, I want you to do a show and I want you to do a show with poets and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but you know, poets always getting called to perform, but nobody ever asks us what we thinking. And we're the most brilliant people in the room and the most diverse group of people in the room. Like no poet look alike, sound alike, and everything like that. So, you know, Tahir Moore, he has the Zooming with the homies where he does with the comedians. They just sit around and talk. I was like, yo, what if we did that in more of an interview form where these poets get to just express how they feel? We talk about topics that, like, the trick is to, yeah, it's entertaining, but the gems that y'all drop tonight, the knowledge that y'all drop tonight, I'm going to take that forward and other people are too. So I thank y'all for that. Anybody else? I'm sorry.
I'm going to jump in right away because I need to respond to Flora. Let me tell you something. I would be honored to have you come and train with Ungun Institute. So I want to make sure we exchange information. I want to talk to you, sister, offline, and then let's talk about this because your brilliance excites me. And it's what these children and families need. And I can go on and on. We will talk offline, but I would love to have any of you all. But Flora, I'm telling you, you as an educator, what you bring, sis, to the table is exactly what's needed. You're part of the formula that
Yeah.
created. And so it is never anything that I do, you all, just so you all know, it is never just about me. I've lived in the spotlight. If I never get another clap, another snap, another standing ovation, I've had more than my share. What I do now on stage, I keep the stage from going black so that we can come. Everybody can come. See, when the stage goes black, that means nobody can step out there, right? So I stay in the spotlight so to keep it from going black. So it's room for you and it's ready for you when you are ready to be there. That's what I do. I want to also thank those who sent a cash app. I want to send a shout out to
we didn't do that. Yes, please do that.
Floyd Boykin, Trisha Stanberry, and Jezere Jenkins sent a cash app to me, and I'm so honored and pleased to receive that. That means a lot. And then the last thing, Irvin, whatever you need, however you need it, however I can be an asset, a part of, whatever I can do, all you have to do is call. And it's a yes for me, brother, because what you have created here in this platform, and even with Real STL, bringing some positivity to what they have created. This is the part this is the medicine that we need to continue to heal ourselves, our communities, our people. This right here. So I want to see this be so big, Irvin, that when the pandemic is over, that you take it on tour, just like just like what's the singing show, American Idol. After they, go and so it doesn't have to be in contest form, but if you pick your top, you let the audience choose their top 10 poets or what have you, and you go on tour. If we have to help you raise money, I don't care. I don't have to be one of the ones, but I want to help to raise money so you and those other 10 poets can go around the country doing this in person. I think that's imperative. And then the other part I just want to say, when we talk about how we've been measured, are we good enough? I dropped out of college. Y'all want to know why? Because I started a march where I told everybody we're not going to class today. They're not observing Dr. King's birthday. And here I am, the first Black female to receive a full scholarship in music. And I was the first Black class president, freshman class president. So I use my platform and my voice to say, now we shutting it down. I knocked on every door. Here we in a co-ed dorm, Black and whites, boys and girls. We not going. I taught them all kinds of music. We gonna sing from the dorms to the classrooms. And word came for me to go and sit with the dean of students. And he said to me, Marty, if you don't get everybody back to class, you're gonna lose your scholarship. I said, consider it lost. My university, because it was Missouri Baptist College back then in 1989 when I attended, 1990 in January when that happened. But they contacted me about 3 or 4 years ago to do a big article on me that's in their magazine. And
well, ain't that something?
To apologize. Okay, I became Dr. Marty is an honorary doctorate that I've received because of the 30 years of work that I've been doing. And I use it. I put it with my name and I use it as if I done said and then did all the credit hours to receive it because I did earn it. Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
I've earned it, but I've earned it in a non-traditional way. But the point that I'm making, I use it because that is the way of how I can unlock every door. When they see, and Mari, so when I tell you I'm rooting for you, sister, and I got a group that I want to put you with because you're going after your doctorate. There's some sisters I need to put you with, and we'll talk about that offline too. But the bottom line is this: they don't question me as a woman or being Black because they see that Dr. Marty Casey. For us Black women, titles make a difference. Titles make a difference, but I want to say this before you add anything to the front or the back, you make sure you walk in it every day. I can never not be seen in that space of how they view me because I have it attached to my name.
And they can't take it. That's a good word.
Can't take it away. You can't take it. But at the end of the day, I still walk in it. So when we talked about that earlier about artistry, when we get to a certain place of our artistry or whoever we are and whatever we're doing, we need to have some responsibility for those who are looking at us.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I hold our artists accountable for what they're creating.
Yeah.
Because it goes in history. It's
Facts.
attached to us.
Facts.
I just want to say this last thing for sure, and I'm shutting up going on mute. But Flora, I want to see educators start to change the systems, because if I feel like every child is an A student, either academically, athletically, or artistically.
Mm-hmm.
If you waited on me to show up academically, I should have dropped out of school. If you waited on me to impress you athletically, I shouldn't have never been in school.
Mm-hmm.
But artistically, if you measured me, I should have been on honor roll every semester, dean's list, because that's who I am. That's how I'm wired. Trying to measure, put every child in a certain size box. Mm-hmm. And we need to wrap them up for how they come.
Yeah, you cannot judge a goal. You cannot judge a fish in the ocean for not being able to pick leaves from a tree. And that's what's wrong with the educational system. What about you, Ms. Cherazz? Thank you so much for that, Marty. That's very powerful.
Wow.
What you over there eating, Maury?
I know. Now I'm hungry. Making me hungry.
Making me hungry.
Man, whatever y'all talking about. Come on,
I was on the live trying not to be I ate one chicken where I was like, look, they're gonna be like, look at this pulling out here eating. I was like, I got off literally got off a flight, drove an hour and a half. Oh no, I was saying I got off a flight, drove an hour and a half to get back home, and then got directly on the Zoom. And I was like, I'm so hungry. So hungry.
I'm so hungry. I'm sorry about that, Cherazz. I gotta get that in my head.
Oh no, you are good. Thank you, Urban. Thank you. Because like Flora said, we go way back. I can't even remember what year it was that we both shared a stage / performance space. What was that, like 2000?
Early 2000s.
Yeah, 2001 or 2 or something. 2002.
Mm-hmm. It's been a minute.
Yeah. You know, and just to be on here with artists and poets and activists that I admire. Because I really don't get an opportunity to perform that often.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked, they said, Cherazz a poet? I said, yeah, that's how we know her.
No.
Right.
You better recognize.
Yeah, but that says, you know, but that's a really interesting thing that I found out. Like, there are some people who only know me, you know, from certain professional capacities, right? But they don't know all of me. Mm-hmm. And then some people are shocked.
But isn't that the artist's life?
Right. Yeah.
You know, before you go on, I'm gonna say this. I don't want to cut you off, but I'm gonna say this because I want you to keep talking. But Corey Black made a prolific statement one night. He said, the worst thing to do is go on stage and perform in front of millions, only to get off that stage and go work in a cubicle.
Right.
Like, listen, I'm listening.
Yeah. And quite honestly, that's what I did. You know, it was one of those things where, in full transparency, I felt like I had to trade off. You know, here it was, I was in Chicago, the slam mecca, and my dear friend and muse, who is no longer here with us, my homeboy, Brother Mike, I'm showing up to the Buddha Lounge and not performing. Like, really, we doing that, you know? And I just felt as though that at the time, I was like, no, I'm a copywriter and a brand strategist, and I have to be this. I have to commit to this, right? I traded off, right? And then when I moved to Portland, you know, my mom hit me up and she was like, because my mom is one of the first people who will hear, she's the first person who will hear my new work.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother was like, you haven't called me and read me a poem, like what's going on? And I broke down crying because I was like, I'm writing all day long and I'm coming home and I just can't get thoughts out. You know, and I'm also, you know, a member of the Screwed Arts Collective, so I'm a visual artist as well. You know, and just being around the guys, like relocating back home to St. Louis has really put me back more in a creative space, even though I came home under extreme duress, you know, extreme just heartbroken and lost and all of that. But you know, as they say, if you want to make God laugh, like tell him your plans, right?
I know, right?
So
I know, right?
who knew that I would be back in St. Louis? However, when I resigned from corporate America in 2011, I'll never forget what I said to Dan Wyden. And I was like, I gotta go back and find Cherazz. The woman who I look at in the mirror, I don't know her. I was like, so I got to go get me back. You know? So, you know, Flora, I feel you. Just it took me years, right, to really get back into the groove of everything, of just my love of audio engineering and sound design, music, you know, and just really being present in that space and being present for myself in my gift as a poet and not in the capacity of being an artist for commerce, because that's basically what the ad industry is. You know, so I'm so completely humbled by this night. It's reaffirming, reassuring. Like that poem, the first poem that I read tonight is like, for me, like one of the most solid things I've written in the last like couple of months, you know, and it was just one of those moments where I was like in the flow of it. And I had to actually start giving myself permission to be in a space where it's like, Mari said this earlier, you know, of reminding myself, I just don't have to give all of myself away. I need something for me. Because I love what I do, you know, absolutely love what I do. However, on the same note, I miss me. I miss performing. One thing that I forgot to mention, I am a part of Dana Levy's exhibit inside of the St. Louis Art Museum right now at Slam, where my poem, Who Moved My Memories, is featured. Part of her body of work, along with the great historian Gwen Moore, as well as Michael Allen, and there's another brother who's a part of that exhibit, whose name is escaping me, but he's a Christian hip hop artist. So I do stress for everybody to go to Slam and look at that exhibit that Dana Levy has done. But I find myself in those kind of capacities. But this night has been like, sometimes I forget I'm a poet.
Yeah. Well, we welcome you back. We welcome you back as a poet, and come back more often. What about you, Surreal Sister?
Well,
you always take it. Let me tell you, she's so calculating with her thinking, because she's a right brain, left brain thinker. She'd be like, okay, so let me say this.
You hit it right on the head, Irvin. I am a right brain, left brain thinker. I've got the analytical side and I've got the artistic side. Now, I will say, to kind of tack on to what Cherazz was saying, I spent so many years in the corporate world that it was killing me. You know, when you've got I'm slightly more creative than I am analytical, but when you are punished for being creative, for being too verbose, your numbers aren't high enough because you're being a little bit too conversational in the emails, and or you're using words that are above the heads of the people that you're speaking to, and they don't know. You got to re-explain what you're saying, and you get hits on that. And then they encourage the left brain, you know, the analytical side, and when you do that all day, it just starves the right brain. It starves it to the point where you can't even have a thought to yourself, and you kind of lose it. You lose yourself. And in 2019, I quit that. Of course, I should have had some better plan, but I I just, you know, on my birthday, I was like, you know what, I'm done. I put in my 2 weeks. My last day is my birthday. And I did that, and I started my own business, and and you know, it wasn't, you know, when you start off with nothing. I mean, when I say nothing, I created a website and several blog pages completely on my iPhone. Completely on my iPhone. I didn't have anything. I didn't have a dime to my name. I didn't even have money to get on the bus. I remember seeing you, Cherazz, when I was in that period of time. Yeah. And even now for money, I actually work for the unemployment office through a temp agency. And I hear stories all day long. It's good to have been in this circle of brilliant women. When I saw the lineup, and I was just like, wow, and I'm included in this. And then I started thinking, I was thinking, well, damn, you've done a lot of things over the years. Don't forget that. You forget it.
Yeah.
And then when you get into mixed company, you don't even mention all of these things that you've done because they don't care.
Yeah.
All they care about is what can you do to boost numbers, you know? And so it was wonderful to hear your stories, to be in your company. When I say your, I mean all of you women here tonight. Just meeting Dr. Marty tonight. I know everyone else, but just to be in all of your presence tonight, it was an honor, especially since all day now I work from home. All day I hear the stories. Oh, some of them are heartbreaking. People who are trying to get unemployment, people who haven't heard back from unemployment in months.
Years, a year. Some people haven't heard back from them in a year. They were, let me tell you, I didn't mean to cut you off, but let me tell you what they were doing down here in Georgia. They were literally going to people's houses and taking them off unemployment and arresting some people because they got $2 or $3 more. Listen, it's been ridiculous what's going on. This country has proven time and time again, not only do it not care about Black people, it don't care about poor people either.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just hear all the that would be a whole episode in itself, all the different stories I've heard. One woman said that how COVID had affected her job, her boss died. She even had the circular from the funeral. And I was like, oh God. Another woman, I talked to a woman, called her up and asked for her husband, you know, to interview him because I collect data. And she said, oh, he died a few hours ago. Wow. And I'm still in shock. And I was just like, I felt kind of dumb. Like I'm sitting up here trying to tell him what, you know, trying to get information from him, and he's gone already. So much time has gone by. Yeah.
That's so sad. And see, my thing is too, and even with that position, like, you know, you have to take care of yourself too, because that is consistent trauma that you are calling on the phone and having to deliver, even collecting data, but hearing that bad news. Let me tell you something. My acting teacher taught me this years ago. When you are an actor, and Marty can attest to this, you're going through something on stage. You exhuming bodies and spirits and souls on stage, and you telling those stories. Your mind knows it's fake. It knows it's make-believe. Your body does not. You understand what I'm saying? And it will manifest in your body in a way that you be like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And I don't want to keep everybody's too long, so I want to make sure I get Maury in as well, Surreal Sister. Then I'm gonna ask you all what poem stood out to you tonight. What is something you take away, and then we'll be a wrap. What about you, Marty? I mean, Maury.
I was definitely had a great time to be invited. Of course, since we've been in the whole pan pizza, I ain't been performing nowhere, right? So,
yeah.
So I ain't really been nowhere to perform. And then, of course, I knew everyone on the line except for Marty. Me and Surreal Sista was on a slam team, like the first slam team I ever been on. I was on with Surreal Sista. Of course, I know Cherazz through the community as well. And then Misinterpretation from way back when I first started slamming. She used to do the Moorish slam.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Thought and everything that's not participating in that. So it was nice just to kind of reconvene, especially with me, being the youngest person in the room, the youngest poet. So when I kind of came around, you guys were already, kind of here. So it's nice to be able to be in the same space and be able to share time and space and share things that we have in common with each other, which is the love for the art of poetry and writing. I'm also a person who believes in duality. I love performing for people. I love writing. I love entertaining. And, I'm the youngest of four siblings, the only girl, the first one to graduate college, the first to hit a lot of milestones before any of my brothers have. And that's always been really important to me to show that, hey, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you're, if your parents are drug addicts like mine were, if you have to live in a different state over 4 years, you move in every year and still be able to be, at the top of your class and things. I've always, so when I talk about duality, I never felt like I had to pick whether I wanted to be an artist or whether I wanted to have like a professional career. I always felt like I can do both. And I wanted other young Black youth to be able to see me say, hey, you can do more than one thing. You don't have to pick a thing. We get so much pressure to pick a thing, and this is what you have to be for the rest of your life. You need to pick now. And then crazy enough, you want me to pick at 18. Type of, the craziness of all of that. And so I've always believed that, I can be on a stage by day and, doing somebody ultrasound by, whatever. I feel like I can have all of that. I think I have many gifts, and I want Black youth to feel like I can use what I have to do many things, and it doesn't have to look like one thing, and it doesn't have to be what's expected of me to be. If you want to be an artsy fartsy person, I think that's great. And if you want to, go, maybe some people are okay with working in cubicles. Always, I know we're such in like that rise and grind kind of culture. You got to work yourself, team, no sleep. Everybody got to be everybody got to be an entrepreneur. And always remind me of this rap line. He's like, if everybody in Boston who's really working, somebody got to work somewhere, right?
Somebody got to work.
And I just feel like, not just because someone is at a cubicle doesn't mean that what they do is any less than what you do. Doesn't mean, I know people who love numbers. They'll sit at a computer all day and crunch numbers. And they're like, I like this.
Ain't my gift. That ain't my gift.
Yeah. Just because this is hell for you don't mean it's hell for me. So, I feel like we, as a community, and what I feel like Black people don't get many opportunities to do is to just be. We're expected to be extraordinary all the time. And not only are we expected to be extraordinary all the time, we are expected for our success to kind of look one way. And especially now with, with the push to Black people need to own things. And I'm like, I think that's great for people who want to own and run a business. Not everybody want to be bothered to do that. That's not everybody's calling. And then I don't want them to feel shame because I don't want to start a business or because I don't want to get a college degree. That's not everyone's way. So I just want to get to a space where Black people can be. We can choose what we want to choose and then not be tied to something we got to do for the people or for the whole of it all. We often don't get to make isolated decisions.
Nope.
It's all so tangled and tied to so many things. I mean, even with me being aware of that, part of me going to college, even when I knew I've always wanted to go to college. From an early age, I wanted to be in healthcare. And then, life just took other turns and I tried other things first. But even with knowing those things and being part of my reason for going was, I have to be great. I'm a young Black girl from the west side of Chicago. I'm growing up with, my great grandparents raising me and my brothers, and my parents are drug addicts. Like, I have to beat the statistic, and you kind of get in the will of feeling like I have to do these things because this is what making it looks like for someone who comes from where I've come from. And it's just very
that's
powerful.
a cage in itself too.
Exactly. It's just very powerful to get to a space where you can start making choices and decisions based off what makes you fulfilled and happy without trying to fulfill all the wildest dreams of the people who came before you. While that is something for us to honor and give reverence to, it's a hell of a lot to feel like you got to carry. And that's something that I'm hoping that as I learn to put down, I'm hoping that's something I can give to the youth coming up behind me. I mean, I'm freshly off of, I think I'm still in youth. I still need adult supervision, but but for the little bit I do know, I be wanting to be, hey, you ain't got to put that on. You ain't got to do that. Like you ain't got to take up that plight. That's not yours. That's not yours to bear. But I just enjoy being on here, being able to do some poems and share some things that I've been working on, and it be in a space with Black women because I go up for Black women, so I'm always here for that. But that's all I have.
Well, I appreciate you all coming. I know it's getting a little late, so I'm not gonna keep because it's 12 o'clock midnight here, and I know some of us got to get up. So I'm going to wrap it on that note because I know we can listen, we are poets, we are artists. We can sit and talk about these subject matters all day because one thing I realized with this show, a lot of us, we don't be around other artists. So we don't get, this is how I explain it to my male friends that I say, the way you talk about football and basketball, and we can talk stats and numbers. I said, it's the same thing artists do when it comes to poetry, actors. We would sit and talk all day because we don't get to be around people who understand what we do. So when we see each other, we go crazy. We've been having conversations, when you are an intellectual, okay? And your life consists of being around people who may be intellectuals, but in a different capacity. It's a different day. So I want to thank y'all for coming once again. I want to thank you for Dr. Marty Casey for coming. I want to thank you, Cherazz, for coming. I want to thank you, Surreal Sista, for coming. I want to thank you, Marty, for coming to the after show. Thank y'all so much. And shout out, if you all have anybody who hit you up on the cash out, shout them out. I want to shout out to Shauna for hitting up the cash out, Floyd Boykin for you, Cherazz, he had the cash out, and to Shauna, Cherazz hit you up for the cash app, all right? And also to Morris Bedford, shout out for me for hitting up the cash app. Who, anybody else got their cash app hit up?
Just sent of him. I just want to say thank you.
And shout out to Desiree, to Shauna, Floyd. It's messing me up because her real name came up on the
Trisha,
thing.
Trisha Stanberry.
Yeah, and I was like, what's her poet name? Why I can't think of it right
now? I got hit up. Got hit up with.
Oh, can you give me the line? Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you. You turned your camera off, Auntie Stephanie Williams.
I have to look at the cash app to see who did
it. Sister Taraji. There we go.
To Shauna, Floyd Boykin, Trisha Stanberry, and Desiree Jenkins. Thank you very much.
What about you
so much?
I had called mine out earlier, but I can do it again right now if you want it in this moment.
Yes, please do.
Okay, let me get to it. Tashana, Floyd, Trisha, and Desiree.
That's what's up. Well, we appreciate y'all for being on the show. I'm about to get some rest because my eyes getting heavy and I'm hungry. Like Marty said, I'm so hungry. I'll talk to y'all later. Love all of y'all. Thank you all for coming out to the
show.
It's been amazing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye-bye.